We are live on the Money Talk Show, Week 14. I'm with the one and only David Meltzer, and this NFL season is flying. We're not even in Christmas yet, but I feel like Week 14 just came across so quickly. We've had a good year. A lot of parlays have been hitting. A lot of props have been hitting. But, David, this year is wonky. And when things are happening that are kind of unexpected, what do you do as far as investing goes and moving money around where a lot of weird things keep happening week after week in the NFL or in other financial markets?
Yeah. So what you look at are the independent and dependent variables that are aligned with what it takes to win. Timing and risk tolerance in business, but in sports, what it is ownership, coaches, and quarterbacks. And so, when things go awry as you get closer and closer to the playoffs, things get to be stable by looking at the best ownership, right? And this is why people will tell you, right? It's so obvious. Why does this always happen to the Browns? Why does this always happen to the Chargers? Well, it starts with the ownership, then it goes down to the coach, and then it goes down, the management, then the coach, et cetera, and then the quarterback. And so I go with those teams that have all three of those in the end, and I make and double down on those bets because they're more likely at the end of the year to perform like they're supposed to. The Tom Brady's aren't going to let one go late in the season. Things like Belichick, you can see New England, things like that I'm looking for.
Yeah, with Belichick, he's proven that you don't even need a quarterback. I never seen such a game where three passing attempts or four passing attempts and you win, and you so confidently just go in there and just drown the clock, slow down the game, make no mistakes, and you win a game. It's shocking, but that's the Belichick way, man. It's really not about the names on the back of those jerseys. It's about the system. It's about the organization, and you can bet on Belichick pretty much year after year that he's going to be consistent. I never thought they'd be leading the East, up there as one of the Super Bowl favorites, which is kind of shocking to me. I don't know if they can pull it off because there's not enough talent on the field to win a Super Bowl, but you can never really count out Bill Belichick. But we got an interesting game to talk about to start off our money talk.
I got to mention one thing.
Go for it.
You and I know one thing. Last year, Tom Brady, everybody said, I don't know if he has enough to. He put himself into the record books, the legacy. It made him. I think it's only apropos that if Belichick wins this year, even more than Tom Brady at 43 years old, that if he wins with this team, now you're like, no one's going to say Tom Brady was the reason. No one's going to say Belichick was the reason for that dynasty. It's going to be like, holy crap, how did these two guys not win every single Super Bowl? Because they're both the best ever.
Yeah, take my loyalty to New York out of the mix. I would love to see it, man. Like, I would love to see Belichick just grind out like a boring ass Super Bowl where he wins like 10-6.
Yeah,
but he is the champion once again. So if it happens, I'll be rooting for him. If he gets there and it's him versus Brady, I'll be rooting for Belichick all day, every day. But your Cleveland Browns, man, you spoke about them briefly. We like the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a better team, a more complete team. As crazy as it sounds, Lamar Jackson is a better passing quarterback than Baker Mayfield. That team is more healthy here. So I'm rolling with the Baltimore Ravens over your Cleveland Browns. I think the Browns are pretty much done, and I think we could start seeing a situation where, Baker Mayfield is not going to be the quarterback much longer in Cleveland. I know they gave him a big contract, but what's your thoughts here, Ravens versus the Browns?
I hate to start off by agreeing with you full-heartedly, but I agree with you full-heartedly. The Browns are done. The Ravens obviously have a lot of talent and a lot to lose. I don't think they're going to lose here. I think, like I said, stability wins over with the ownership, the coach, and the quarterback at Baltimore. Much more stable than the owner, the coach, and the quarterback in Cleveland. I'm going with Baltimore all the way.
Yeah, so the next game, I was talking to StatSational earlier today, 8.5 points, too many points for a Titans team that are playing without a lot of their superstars right now. No Derrick Henry. Tannehill is struggling. The Jaguars plus 8.5. Can you back Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence? I know, you weren't a big fan of Trevor here, but 8.5 points, for a Titan teams that are not scoring too many points, I like the bet here, and I'm backing Statsational here with the 8.5.
Yeah, especially they are playing at home, right? So, I think it's too many, and there's certain times that makes me nervous, especially because once again, we have quarterback not where we want him to be. We got coach issues again, not where we're supposed to be. So, I'm going with the other side of it and saying Jacksonville. It's too many points. I'm taking the points with Jacksonville.
Yeah, and then a guy that you are a big fan of, struggling. He's got no McCaffrey now, but Cam Newton at home against the Falcons, minus 2.5. And I'm not saying, we have a screen share here. I'm not saying to parlay these plays. If you want to get crazy, throw a couple dollars on it, go right ahead. But showing out the bet slip here, the Panthers minus 2.5 at home against the Falcons. They're fighting. The Panthers are fighting to try to find a way to stay in contention here, but the Falcons struggling week after week after week. What's your thoughts here? Does Cam, win at home against the Falcons?
I do think so. I'm partial to Belichick. I'm partial to Cam, which destroyed me last year because I thought for sure that was the deadly combination of ownership, coach, and quarterback. But in this case, I think it's more about Atlanta being so bad and so inconsistent than it is about Cam Newton and Carolina. I'm going Carolina over Atlanta.
So this one looks easy to me, maybe too easy. And sometimes the simple bet is the best bet, and sometimes it's a trap. But the Cowboys are a better team than the Washington football team. Washington is still banged up. I know the Cowboys are going on the road here, but 4.5, if it was 6.5, 7, I'd be a little bit worried here. But the Cowboys need to show up. This is a game for them to win in division. Washington is creeping up the charts here. They're trying to fight, for the playoffs as well. But look, I'm backing the Cowboys. I think they're at full strength, from the offensive perspective. I see a big game out of Dak and CD. I like them for fantasy. The two-headed, combination of Zeke and Pollard in the backfield. It's not good for fantasy, but it's good for team wins. And 4.5 is not enough points for Washington to hang in this game. So I'm on the Cowboys. What's your thoughts on the Cowboys in this game and throughout the rest of the season? Do they have what it takes to make a run at a Super Bowl?
No. And what makes me nervous about this game, why I want to stay away from it, is because they are so talented, as they have been in so many other years. And that makes me want to stay away from it because the minute you look at what you just said, Washington at home on the rise, Dallas inconsistent, you start seeing why the spread is where it's at. But on the other side, if these guys put together, which they've never been able to do for 20 years, if they've always had enough talent, they've had man-childs on the outside, they've had incredible quarterbacks, Romo, if you knew how really good Romo was, you would be even more disappointed in the performance of the Dallas Cowboys as a whole. Unfortunately, this is a game I'd stay away from because you don't know what Dallas is going to do. And Washington, I think, is going to be consistent in what they do, which is increasingly get better. And they're playing at home. But if the better team wins that performs better, Dallas is going to easily, like you said, this was easy to you, easily beat that spread. But unfortunately, I just don't trust Dallas. Therefore, I say stay away. In fact, I lean the other way and would take Washington, but I prefer to stay away from the game.
I'll give you 2 extra points. Dallas covers by a touchdown easy here. They roll. I'll give you the 2 points.
All right. Still, I'll take the bet only, but I want you to realize it still holds true that if Dallas shows up the way they should, which they rarely do, they'll easily cover that 7. They'll cover 10. They might win by 21. I think they either win by more than 10 or they lose the game. That's what I think the bet is.
I like that call. I think that is actually true because, Washington can either win this game or they can get blown out. So I agree to that, but I'll give you the 6.5. I think the Cowboys cruise here, similar to the Ravens. I think the Ravens kind of cruise as well and win that game outright. But what I think is the best game on this slate, the biggest game on this slate. Look, the Buffalo Bills, they have to go beat Belichick one week, they lose. Now they have to go beat Brady. So they go from like, cold weather, sloppy game, 40-mile-an-hour winds. Never seen a game like that in quite some time. Then they have to go and take down Brady. And they got to put up a bunch of points to win here. This is a stay-away spot for me. This is a game that I just want to get the popcorn out, watch the game, maybe bet some props. I like Stephon Diggs to have a big game from a fantasy perspective. I think it's a good bounce-back spot for Josh Allen, but I'm a bit worried here. I can see this game being played out a lot of different ways. The Bills have been shaky, but our guy Statsational likes the Bills. What's your thoughts here? Who wins this game? Who's the better team long term? And, these two teams are Super Bowl, candidates. How real is the story for Buffalo and Tampa Bay this year?
Buffalo, the story is about as real as the Los Angeles Chargers story is, right? You have great young quarterback. Yeah, dude. I said this last week, and you scoffed at me when New England beat Buffalo, and it's going to be the same thing this week. Ownership, quarterback, right? Coach, quarterback, and it's that way. Buffalo is just like Dallas, just like Cleveland. It's just historically, why do they choke in the end? And it's because of these types of games. It's like last week's type of game. Unfortunately, StatStation, I think, even took Buffalo last week. I think that people overestimate, how good Buffalo is and underestimate again and again the ownership, the quarterback, and coach that exists in Tampa Bay, the one that won the Super Bowl last year and probably still is the forerunner this year to win the Super Bowl after they beat New England 10-6.
What's your take on Josh Allen? Because I think he's a very great quarterback. Is he going to be great for a long time, or has he reached his pinnacle and is he going to regress moving forward?
No. I mean, watch his processing speed, his arm strength, his accuracy, his football intelligence. Those aren't going to go away. The only reason he will leave there is, some sort of disgruntled behavior because they're not bringing in good players. But Buffalo's a great football town. They just have to put together, in my opinion, they have great ownership now. But they got to put together a system that's going to work for Josh Allen instead of the inconsistency that he has.
Yeah, get him a running back, man. You get this guy a running back. He's kind of forced to be their de facto running back. They're trying different guys week to week, but they need a run game to kind of balance out, open things up for Josh Allen, because he's a lot of times frantically trying to make things happen where if he had an established run game, this team would be super consistent. Last game of the slate, we don't have any plays from the Sharp team as of yet, but I want your take here, and I want an unbiased take. Rams versus Cardinals Monday night. This game has a lot of meaning, I think. It's week 14. These two teams are battling out, West Coast. Who's going to come out? What's your lean here? Is Stafford back? Does Odell make a difference? Is Cooper Kupp enough of an option for them to, keep throwing to play after play after play? And does anybody respect these Cardinals? Because I think they're not getting the respect that they deserve, going out there and winning games with Colt McCoy. So my thoughts are Cardinals roll, but it's going to be a tight one here if this Rams defense can step up.
Yeah, this, like you said, is not the easiest game to pick. I'm leaning towards the Cardinals as well. I just think they're a better team. You mentioned names, but let's be honest. Did you mention any significant names that are winners like Gronkowski, Tom Brady, Tyreek Hill? Did you mention any names? Those are just popular names, right? Those are popular name players. Matthew Stafford has done nothing with his career, right? We know Odell, nothing with his career. So, it's a bunch of popular names. It's not necessarily some huge talent. So that's why I'm leaning. And I think Colt McCoy is I know very well, and he's underestimated. He's won his whole career. He's a smart football player. He's a good football player. He's not one of the world's best, but he's a legitimate starter on a really good team with a really good coach. And I think they're going to, like you said, roll on this one.
Yeah, I think Kyler Murray's back. DeAndre Hopkins is back, and this team is really good. And shocking to say that the Rams, added talent and regressed for whatever reason. But Stafford's looked better the last couple games. So if Stafford, I don't think he's a loser. I don't think he's
No, I didn't say
a
loser either.
loser. I think he's a gritty, tough
His
dude that's
team
battled
loses.
injuries.
His team loses. He's not a
Yeah,
loser.
yeah. I think he's a winner at heart. I like to see him do well. Cooper Cup. I don't know how this guy finds a way to get open week after week when he's the only real target out there. And Odell, to me, he's a bum, man. I don't like all the off the field stuff, and I don't like to see guys who have all the talent in the world just kind of waste away due to just
See,
whatever you want to call it.
I'm gonna end on this, Jason, because it's an important point that all the talent in the world just gives you your basement. So if
Yeah.
you're a Ryan Leaf, and Odell Beckham, a guy with super talent, that just means you'll play in the league for 10 years, 12 years. But it's the desire that makes Tom Brady Tom Brady. It's the desire, that makes the player. And so the desire determines your ceiling, your talent determines your basement. And Stafford has a high basement. Odell has a high basement. I think Cooper Cup is out of that genre. He would be extremely good on other teams as well.
Yep.
But so you look at the basement, and you see, okay, they have a chance to win or that, but I don't think they have the potential that the Cardinals have. And Kyler Murray, it's a different ball game. So remember, everybody out there, talent is the basement. Your desire is the potential in football.
Yeah, for sure, man. Any sport, man. It's not the best athletes that make it to the top. It's the guys who work the hardest year in and year out. And like you said, that's why Brady can stay at this highest level, because he's mentally stronger and willing to do stuff that other people just aren't willing to put in the time, the work, the effort, and all that kind of stuff. So, David, that's why you continue to be at the top of your game, coaching people up, coaching me up, helping us out at the Sharp app. And I hope that you have a good time wherever you are right now. You look like you're somewhere warm, chilling and relaxing. I had a nice weekend in Disney, but it wasn't relaxing. I need a vacay from the vacay.
Come
So
on down to Meltzer Island here. We're doing a mastermind. You can not only enjoy yourself, but you can expand and grow and accelerate. All your dreams can come true. Money Talks with our Sharp app. And it's such a pleasure to see you, Jace.
all right, go download the app if you haven't already. Go cash in those Cowboys tickets. They will cover the 4.5, and I'll cover the 6.5. That gets me maybe a ticket to Meltzer Island one day. Everyone have a good week. Happy holidays. Stay safe. And we'll be back next week for week 15 of the Money Talk Show.